Es geht um die Xbox One X, die leistungsstärkste Konsole der Welt. Dazu brauchen wir Kompetenz, die ich nicht habe, weswegen ich mir zwei Menschen eingeladen habe, die sehr viel mehr über diese Konsole sagen können als ich. Und zum Ersten haben wir Aaron Greenberg, den Marketing Director von Xbox. Welcome back to the show. Und Christoph Liedtke, unseren Hardware-Experten, der hard-hitting Questions über die Xbox One X fragen wird. Wir nehmen Aaron da so ein bisschen in die Zange. We're gonna attack you from both sides now.
I'm here for the attack.
Right. Okay, so you went with the name Xbox One X. There were possibly a few other names in the bucket. Can you share a few of the other names you had planned for the thing, but later on decided not to use?
Yeah, we had things like Xbox One, this thing is awesome. The Xbox One, better than the other guys. But we just ran out of room. So, no, in all seriousness, you know, I've been on Xbox for 18 years. I was there when we had this idea to make a console, you know, at Microsoft. And the idea was, and our slogan when we built the original Xbox was, we wanted to make a console that was more powerful than anything existed. And our tagline was, there's no power greater than X. Mm-hmm. And so we really went back into our roots of our history. And we wanted to keep it in the same family with Xbox One, so people knew the compatibility was there with games and accessories. And so keeping the name X and sort of going back to there's no power greater than X was the root of that decision.
Okay. Also ich habe ihn jetzt gerade gefragt, ob es denn in diesem ganzen Prozess mal andere Namen gab für die Xbox One X. Also Xbox One X ist ja dann letztlich der finale Titel geworden, nach Project Scorpio, dem Arbeitstitel, ob es da andere Titel dafür gab. Und er hat gesagt, also als erstes haben sie gesagt, Xbox One besser als die Konsole von den anderen Leuten oder die super awesome Xbox, aber das haben sie dann nicht gemacht, weil so viel Platz auf dem Gehäuse nicht war. Tatsächlich ist der Name aber hergeleitet eben von der alten Xbox, wo damals der Slogan schon war, there's no greater power than X, und dazu wollten sie wieder zurück und dann haben sie das eben den Namen wieder eingebaut. But were there guys within Microsoft or within the Xbox team that were like, but there's also an X in the title, why go with another X?
We all liked the name. It was pretty easy, so it was simple. I mean, I thought, you know, X marks the spot. There's a lot of, you know, we liked, you know, X is something we've owned with Xbox. It's, you know, there's a lot of, I think, benefits of having an iconic letter brand name, and it really fit within that. So from a branding and marketing standpoint, it allows us just to lean more in and own the X. You know, when you see our logo and our icon has the X on it, and you know, frankly, having an S model, you know, allowed us to go with the slimmer edition we had before with the white, and now we have the black, powerful beast, the monster, which is the X. And so we like the naming, and with naming, it's always you know, whatever you come up with at first, people take a little time to get used to it, and then you no longer talk about it after that.
And we can do the whole stupid exhibit routine with the X.
this all my pictures at Gamescom, people want me to do this. Yeah.
And this is also a thing in our
Is it?
Yeah.
Ich habe nur gerade noch gesagt, eben, ob es denn nicht im Team auch Leute gab, die das irgendwie, die dann aufgeschrien haben und gesagt, Moment mal, wir haben doch schon X in dem Namen Xbox, aber er meinte, sie haben halt sich für dieses X entschieden, das ist halt Teil ihrer ganzen Markenstrategie, deshalb baut man es eben nochmal ein und man kann auch die ganze Zeit dieses blöde Exhibit-Ding machen, und Aaron wird auch dauernd auf der Gamescom gebeten, diese Pose zu machen. Okay, ich glaube, Christoph, du darfst eine Frage stellen.
Genau, mir brennt es unter den Fingern. So, we know a lot about the hardware and the SoC called Scorpio Engine, right? But it's not all about like bumping specs, like more cores, more compute units, which is very nice to have, and most powerful console on the planet. But one thing is missing. It's the ESRAM. You know, this 32 megabyte cache memory. My question is, why is it missing? Is it missing because you couldn't render at full 4K native resolution, and then it's a cost factor like bumping the die size, like the chip size, blowing it up? Or was it more like, it's a bit complicated for the developers to getting things done in order and be as quick as possible and efficient as possible? So.
Yeah, well, for us, we started with the blank slate, and we went and talked to developers and asked them what they wanted. What do they need to be able to achieve true 4K gaming to be able to have a huge leap beyond what exists today. The key point was we wanted to be able to do that without sacrificing compatibility. So we wanted, one family of games where everything works. And so the SoC is custom designed, as you know, with 6 teraflop GPU, with 12 gigs of memory, and of course, we made that decision with the DDR5 RAM. And so I'm not a hardware engineer, but I can tell you that from talking to those teams and talking to the developers, this was the architecture choice that they felt like was the best to build the games they want to build today, but still be able to run and perform the games that exist. And so, the response, we also, not only just the box, we want to make sure the development kit and the development tools were really easy. And so the feedback's been great. People are getting games up and running really fast. They're finding that, if you compare the off-the-shelf components, like if you made your own PC, they get a lot more performance because we're optimizing these for each unit, and the developers are finding they are having a lot more headroom within their games as well.
Okay, thanks. Ich habe den Aaron gerade gefragt, wo denn das ES-RAM-Modul geblieben ist. Also das war so ein kleiner 32 Megabyte großer Memory-Speicher, der geholfen hat, das Ganze ein bisschen zu beschleunigen, und das fehlt eben der Xbox One X, und das ist dann wohl so geschehen, dass die Konsole wurde konzipiert, alles von Scratch, und man hat sich Gedanken gemacht, wir können es vielleicht vereinfachen, wir erstellen mal einfach ein Testkit, und das Testkit kam einfach so gut an, und aufgrund der anderen Speicherwahl, wir sind glaube ich von GDDR3 auf GDDR5 hochgegangen, das hebt dann die Speicherbandbreite, mehr Daten können durch die Konsole fließen, und so ist dann das fehlende Modul zu erklären.
Ich frage mich, warum ich dich eingeladen habe. Das hätte ich ja alles auch gewusst. Okay, you thought I was joking with a hard-hitting hardware question.
That's great. This is the first time I've ever been asked that question, so it's good.
So there's the whole deal with the enhanced for Xbox One X programs. You have announced a huge number, I think over 100 games. So how does that work? Is there an incentive for the developers to add this to their games?
So what we wanted to do was have a program where we could make it clear to customers that if developers have done special work to take advantage of the power and performance, they would know that. And so, some games won't, the existing games in particular. But what we found is a lot of developers wanted to do that, not just with new games, but also with the 60 games. So it's up to developers if they want to do it or not. We don't pay them to do it or anything like that. But the response has been really positive. And so today, or here at Gamescom, we released the list. It is over 100. In fact, we listed a list of 118 games that will be enhanced and that they're doing special work for. And this includes, most of all the top holiday games. And that's the list of developers that are willing to say, we meet those requirements today. Of course, at E3, we had 40 titles. So we expect that list to continue to grow over time. On the front of the box with Xbox One games, you'll see 4K Ultra HD, you'll see HDR, and you'll see Xbox One Enhanced. So we want to make it really clear and easy for customers to know which features the individual games have.
But definition-wise, is there a fixed definition for this enhanced thing, or is it up to the developer which features they include?
Well, so for us, there's some technical things that we require. They have to be, building on the latest dev kits. They have to be optimizing for the hardware. So there's certain technical things they have to meet. From a customer standpoint, it means that they're doing enough work and they're working on the latest dev kits so that they're taking advantage of the development kit that's designed specifically for the Xbox One X hardware. And so those are new, and that's different, and there's a new set of tools. And so by doing that, they get the certification. The majority of those titles are, it's up to the developer what they want to do once they're enhanced, but the majority of those are 4K Ultra HD, majority of those are adding HDR. And so I think, I'm excited to see those games. I'm excited for customers to see those games. So I think, as you get closer to the launch of the X, I think you'll start to see just how great those titles look. We'll see a lot of side-by-side comparisons, and I know the Germans love the specs, so I'm sure here you guys all profile those too. I mean, I'm a geek too, so we're all good. And I think that people will see the difference with 40% more power, 60% more memory than any other console that exists today.
Ich hatte den Aaron jetzt gefragt, was denn es auf sich hat mit diesem Enhanced for Xbox One X Programm. Sie haben ja angekündigt, dass über 100 Spiele, also 118 sind es jetzt, die auf der Gamescom angekündigt worden sind, die eben nochmal für die Xbox One X angepasst werden, was da dahinter steckt. Er sagt zum Ersten, dass Microsoft die Entwickler nicht dafür bezahlt, also die Spieleentwickler, dass sie diese Verbesserungen vornehmen. Das können sie eben tun. Und es gibt auch keine so wirklich festgeschriebene Definition, was man da nacharbeiten muss. Er sagt halt, der Großteil hat eben diese 4K-Auflösung, hat HDR-Support, der nachgeliefert wird, aber das ist eben keine feste Vorgabe. Und auf den Boxen ist eben ganz klar zu sehen, dieses Spiel hat entweder eine 4K-Unterstützung, hat HDR oder ist eben enhanced, damit der Kunde das unterscheiden kann. Okay.
Okay. I need to jump back to the Scorpio engine a little bit.
Back in the hardware.
Yeah, back in the hardware. I was sawing a slide which quote true 4K, 2160p, 60 Hertz, and for Forza 7, the new game, upcoming racing game, this is superb. Looks gorgeous. 60 FPS. Could you give us an insight if the true native 4K is always like from first party, from you guys, and the third party, like Assassin's Creed Origins or the upcoming Anthem, will then be like, okay, we're trying to get to native 4K, but we're also doing like dynamic resolutions or checkerboard rendering and stuff?
Yeah, I understand the question. So to get the 4K Ultra HD certification, you have to have 2160p frame buffer output in your game. So you have to actually output at 4K. A lot of people, so that is 4K. That game plays in 4K, and we try to be really true to that definition. You know, each developer will decide how much they want to do regarding, you know, the resolution versus the frame rate and those trade-offs. But we believe that, you know, depending on the type of game, Forza is a great example of a game where, you know, they're using that native true 4K. True 4K itself, let's be clear, is like a marketing tagline. So native, if you talk to the developers, is how they like to describe it. So for us, I think the way we think about true 4K is when you build a box that has this much more power, that allows you to have these types of experiences, what we're saying is that we're not really making any sacrifices. With, you know, this much power in a console has never existed before. And so, you know, typically people have spent a lot more money on high-end PCs to get 4K games. And now we want to be able to bring that at scale to the console market. And so that's why we've rallied around this true 4K message. And we do think it differentiates us relative to the competition. With that said, technically it is 2160p frame buffer output. And some developers will decide, hey, I want to really lock on 60 frames per second, and I don't care about the 4K. You know, other games like Forza, as you know, is doing both the native and at 60 and with HDR. So it's really up to the developer. We give them the power and performance. They know best how to optimize their game.
Okay. Ich habe gerade den Aaron gefragt, wie es denn aussieht mit dem wirklichen True 4K Slang, ob wir halten die 4K ein, und für zum Beispiel die Titel für Forza wird das natürlich so sein. Da gibt es keine dynamischen Auflösungen oder ein Checkerboard-Rendering kommt da ins Spiel. Aber bei den Drittherstellern, wie zum Beispiel bei dem Anthem oder dem neuen Assassin's Creed Origins, da ist es dem Hersteller auf jeden Fall komplett überlassen. Möchten wir mehr Frames, möchten wir mehr Detailliebe haben, möchten wir wirklich 4K einsetzen, und also die haben da freie Hand. Und dann gibt es dann auch nochmal, wie auch zu dem Xbox Enhanced Icon, gibt es dann auch noch eine extra Badge. Die bekommt man auch dann nur bei 2160p Output, aber das muss nicht komplett nativ sein.
Ja, wie die Zeit vergeht, wir wollen noch mal kurz in die Community reinhören. Time flies when you're having fun, but let's hear it from the community.
Yes.
Tatsächlich haben und fragen, gibt es eine Umtauschaktion zum Beispiel, alte Xbox One rein, neu raus, und wo kann ich die denn jetzt vorbestellen? Gibt es die bei Microsoft direkt noch oder sind die alle schon weg?
So the viewers are wondering, will there be some sort of trade-in program for the Xbox One X? So can players officially trade in their old Xbox One, pay a little extra and get an Xbox One X back? Are you planning something like that?
Yeah, so the trade-in programs are usually driven by the retailers in each market. And I know, for example, one retailer in the US is doing a trade-in program. Some others aren't. Here locally, I think it will depend. I don't know. I mean, I know Saturn and Media Markt. I know the retailers here. I don't know what the plans are specifically. But it's a competitive opportunity and advantage for a retailer to offer those programs. And we've seen, at least in the U.S., we've seen one of the top retailers do it, and the response has been good. So it's still also early. We just released our first pre-orders of the Project Scorpio Edition for our biggest fans that we knew were going to pre-order first. So hopefully more information on that will come soon. We know that customers want it, and we know that retailers, I'm sure, are listening to them.
And the second part of the question was, is it still possible to pre-order the Xbox One X Scorpio Edition at Microsoft, or are your pre-orders already out?
So it depends on the retailer and the market. Germany had incredible sales. In fact, I believe we've sold out across most of Germany. I think Amazon we sold out in like 25 minutes. So the German fans were very fast. So we thank them for that. We'll have more details on opportunities to pre-order the product in the future. So just please stay tuned. We'll communicate as much as possible. I can say we allocated a certain amount of pre-orders for this limited edition, Project Scorpio Edition, that was designed to be the first wave of pre-orders. And once those are gone and those are sold out, we won't have any more of that limited edition. And so, and that was specifically for our fans. And the fact those have sold much faster than we've expected. So in some ways a good problem to have, but we're going to try to be as transparent and open with fans so they know what to expect and around future pre-orders and supply.
Okay, es waren jetzt 2 Community-Fragen. Ihr habt ja eben schon gehört. Die Antwort darauf ist, diese Umtauschaktionen liegen in der Regel bei den Händlern. Das heißt, Microsoft hat da gar nicht direkt irgendwie Kontrolle darüber. Das heißt, wenn ein Saturn, ein Media Markt, ein GameStop, sonst irgendjemand so eine Aktion machen will, dann kann er das machen. Aaron weiß eben nur, dass der größte Händler in den USA sowas macht, aber sie haben da eben keinen Einfluss drauf. Das heißt, es wäre eine gute Gelegenheit für diese Händler, irgendwie Geld zu verdienen, aber Microsoft kann da nicht reingucken. Die zweite Frage war ja, ob man die Xbox One X Project Scorpio Edition noch direkt bei Microsoft vorbestellen kann. Das hängt auch so ein bisschen vom Territorium ab, aber für Deutschland sieht es wohl eher schlecht aus, weil hier wohl recht viele Xbox One-Fans sind. Da ist die Charge wohl schon ausverkauft, das aber nicht heißen soll, dass man gar nicht mehr die Xbox One X kriegt irgendwie, sondern das ist jetzt nur die erste Charge mal, die für die Hardcore-Fans sind, und danach wird es weitere geben. Sie wollen da sehr transparent sein, was die Produktmengen und Vorbestellaktionen und sowas angeht. Yeah, I'm very afraid we're out of time. It was great to have you back on the program. Next year we're doing camping together, right?
I love camping. This is great. So I'd love to come here and hang out.
So thank you very much for being on the show. Danke, Christoph, dass du da warst. So.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
Ja, mine.
Thank you.